Look at that flippin' mess. That is not what a welding machine should look like when you walk into the booth. And it is certainly not the way you should leave it. So what we're going to talk about right now is preventative maintenance on this machine. What this machine should look like when you come into the booth and what this machine should look like when you leave the booth. It doesn't take long. It's all of our duties to take care of these machines. These machines are industrial duty. They're very robust machines, but we have to keep them clean and we have to do periodic maintenance on them to prevent bigger problems like leaky torches, shock, inconsistent operation of the machine. If your machine looks like this, go get your instructor and tell them to figure out who left it like this. Don't leave a machine like this. Nobody is on that type of a time crunch. It takes 4 minutes to put this away correctly. So we're going to go through this and I want to show you what I want you to do every day with this machine and every couple weeks with this machine. So we'll start off with getting this mess figured out. We'll get the TIG torch out of the way first. And what we want to do at the end of the day, every day, is pull all the cables out. Hey, don't drop the pedal on the floor like I just did. We're going to remove all these cables. Now the first thing I'm going to do is a quick little white glove test. Here, watch this. Now that is not how we maintain our machines, because probably 97% of that dust is metal particles from grinding and from welding. These are electronic machines. They have servos, they have dials, they have electrical connectors, they have a fan, they have a radiator in them. They do not like dust and dirt, especially metal dust. So this is really not how we take care of machines. It's everybody's part. So here's the first thing I'm going to do. At the end of the day, get all the stuff out of the way, and we're going to grab an air hose and simply blow this dust off. Okay? We're going to go around this thing. Now this one obviously has not been blown off for a long time. Watch your eyes, but watch this. See that? That's all metal dust. Now, we pull the next drawer out, and this is our cooler. Not been maintained very well. So we'll blow that out, we'll blow the machine off, but most importantly, come around back here. In these vents, down in here there is a fan, and that is your radiator. And these are all your electrical connections in the back. So I'm going to come in here and blow this stuff out. Filthy. It's flippin' filthy. Tray on the bottom. See the stuff? Check these machines for metal laying around. You don't want to, these are not metal storage machines. We want to pick out all the metal, blow it all off. Make sure you get the fan blown off. Okay, now we're pretty clean. Next step. I'm going to use a little bit of simple green. We have it all over the place. And I'm just going to wipe down the top and the face of this machine. Just takes a minute. You can see this video is probably only 3 or 4 minutes, and that's all the time it takes to wipe this machine down. The cleaner we keep the machine, the less problems you will have with it, the more consistent they run, and the longer they last. All of these dials, all of these controls need that metal dust out of there. So we're just going to give this thing a quick wipe down. This should happen every day. You should blow this out. Take 5 minutes before you leave. Give it a quick wipe down. Number one, it'll make the next person that comes into your booth much happier. Number two, it will help your instructors give you more time training and less time fixing problems with the machine. So we've got it wiped down. Second thing we want to do is we want to inspect these cables. We want to make sure that there's no big cuts because metal gets dropped on these, so that one's not a big deal. We could wrap some tape around that. The general rule with this is if the insulation is cut a little bit, like that spot, we can put a little tape on it, but if you can see the cable, this needs to be replaced. That is a hazard if you can actually open that up and see that cable. If it's just the insulation, we can put a little tape on it. We want to always check our connectors. This is your electrical connection. That one's pretty tight. We want to make sure the jaws are good. This is your electrical connection. This can cause all kinds of problems with your welding if you have a loose connection. And then we look the cable over. This cable looks pretty good. Again, you don't know, nobody does it intentionally, but you can't tell if maybe this cable got damaged a little bit. Piece of metal fell on it, maybe when you didn't know. The pedal, same thing. We're just going to look the cable over. It's not a bad idea to blow the pedal out. Because again, all this is a rheostat. And when it gets metal particles in there, it doesn't like it. So we wrap the cable up nice for the pedal, and that goes right back in the storage drawer. Okay? The ground clamp, we can come up and wrap around the machine nice and loose. What we don't ever want to do with any of these cables is tightly wrap them. It's a lot easier for them to break that way. So we want to wrap these up nice and loose. We always want to come down and check our tank. So these tanks don't need to be full, but we need to be able to see the fluid in there. And you can see that fluid jiggling around. If that fluid is low and you can't visually see it, ask your instructor and they'll get you some more coolant. We take our stick electrode holder, wrap it up in nice loose cables, nice loose wraps. Put it back in our storage box. And then we move to our TIG torch. And we want to look this thing over also, just for any damage in the sheath. These get burned. They get cut, and we just look through it because the sheath, this protective covering, isn't the big part. It's what's in it that's more important. This looks pretty good. And then I get down to the end, and these are the cables that sheath is protecting. So they look pretty nice. Now this thing can get annoying, so what we can do with this is we can pull this up here and we can zip tie it, if we have a zip tie. Or we'll just go around it with a little bit of black tape, just to hold that sheath up on the handle. Just to keep that thing up in place and protect those lines. So this looks pretty nice also. Again, what we don't want to do is kink these off. Remember, these have fluid that go through them like a radiator. So nice big loose loops. That's how we want to put this away. These machines are capable of running tens of thousands of hours if they're maintained correctly. Or you can come in and work on them every day because they haven't had preventative maintenance on them. Take the time to check your connections, blow the thing out, clean the radiator out, wrap the cables up correctly. That way you can spend much more time learning how to weld and much less time fixing a machine.